Which Marvel character hates Deadpool the most, do you think?
I mean, the easy answer is Deadpool himself hates
Deadpool hates
Deadpool.
himself the most?
Yes, but there was a character when his comic first came out, his first like full number one, like Deadpool Volume 1, number 1 by Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness. That first arc introduced a character called T-Ray. Essentially, Deadpool's Sabretooth or Black Manta, just the guy whose only living animus at that point is like messing with you. He's had other rivals, but T-Ray is the one I remembered yeah, I'm just here to mess with you specifically.
Huh. That was like a really concise answer. There's nothing, I can't spin that really into any, I mean, that's just what it is. How are we going to start the show now? We got good bits every week. We gotta keep up the charade, man. I don't know. I'm dead. Welcome to Context Club, a weekly podcast where we flip over all the clues, context, and continuity surrounding our favorite video games, movies, comic books, and shows. And so we can just have a space to kind of talk about that stuff and be more informed about our favorite things. And my name is Evan Campbell. I'm here, as usual, with Mike Williams. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, how we doing today?
I don't know. I thought I was doing okay, and then I just railroaded that intro, and now I don't know how I'm doing. I'm questioning my life choices. I maybe similar to Deadpool. I'm just full chaos at this point.
I mean, we're still moving forward. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, we got this. This week we are, as I just mentioned, talking about Deadpool. We got a new trailer for the third movie, Deadpool and Wolverine. And that's very exciting, but it's also exciting for other reasons than just being, the return of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, a third Deadpool movie in the series of Deadpool movies that have been fairly good. I like the first two, so I'm excited about that. But there's bigger implications in terms of how this movie is going to fit into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're going to get into it, but there's references to things that are happening in the Loki television show, so that's kind of a big deal. And then there's also other things happening in the animated world with X-Men 97 that kind of could be pulled in, I guess. There's just a lot going on, I think, with this trailer that's more than just it's a third Deadpool movie. Does that sound on brand for you?
Yes. And part of it is the fact that Marvel has gone through some struggles recently. And as part of sort of their delays and whatnot, they pushed everything off so that Deadpool is the only Marvel Studios release this year.
Whoa.
And so Deadpool is their chance to return to form, because it's not just how good your movie or your cinematic universe is. It is the spin and perception around it. So if Deadpool comes out and does very well, everyone who is, I don't know if I'm sure they're MCU fans, gets to say, Marvel's Cinematic Universe is back. It's back, baby. Especially since this box office this year is kind of soft. Dune is sitting at the top right now at around $700 million, I believe, the last I checked. And the big contenders to sort of take that crown are Deadpool and Wolverine and another R-rated comic book film, Joker Folie à Deux. I don't know if I pronounced that correct. Do not hate me for my French. So those are the other two films that can come for the crown, which will, I guess, say superhero fatigue is dead, because it does look, at very least, that Deadpool and Wolverine, if the trailer view count is any indication, going to be quite a success. It luckily gets to live in this space where there's not a lot in 2024.
Yeah, let's see. That view count is 29 million views on this Deadpool and Wolverine trailer. That's just on the Marvel Entertainment channel. Ryan Reynolds also posted the trailer on his own channel, and it's gone out, to other places, I'm sure, like IGN and other sites and stuff, where the trailer also likely has millions of views. So what you're saying makes a lot of sense. More than like the way that I was trying to tie it together was like narratively and through lore, but you're right, like financially and like
I
as a
mean,
film
yeah,
in
and
space.
like
Yeah.
narratively and financially, like it's big for Marvel Studios, but it's also definitely landing as sort of the last hurrah for the Fox X-Men universe and the Fox universe in general. Um, Deadpool gets to do his fourth wall breaks um, about Marvel Studios, but also probably about the Fox X-Men universe. We get Hugh Jackman back, and at least in part of the trailer, you'd also see Lady Deathstrike
Hmm.
and Azazel and Pyro, all from their Fox counterparts, the Fox
Yes.
Universe counterparts, um, very briefly. So
This also looks
this,
like a this. If you look here, excuse me, this also looks like a 20th Century Fox thing back here. I was watching a bunch of like uh recaps, people breaking down the trailers, and like yeah, you can see the X clearly in focus back there.
yes, and it was clear when they started shooting this, there were set photos of a larger bit of this, and you could see that it was meant to be the
That
Fox
logo,
sign in the
yeah.
background. So, like that pyro that just popped up, that is the pyro from the Fox X-Men verse. So, this is sort of a last hurrah. Probably not. It does feel like the last big hurrah will be whatever. I mean, it's not called Kang Dynasty anymore. I do not believe.
Huh.
The sixth one might still be Secret Wars,
Okay.
but whatever the next in game thing, like the second in game,
Oh wow.
definitely seems to be some sort of multiversal thing, and this time the the hook will be, if you cared about anything Marvel, period, we'll make sure that it pops up like any Marvel film. So I would absolutely expect to see some of the old Fantastic Four teams, Blade, definitely the Fox X-Men characters.
Wait, how can they do that? Because isn't Chris Evans Cap, and wasn't he Johnny Storm at some point too?
At some point, they're going to make that joke.
Really?
At some point, they
Oh,
they
man.
are definitely going to make that joke in
Oh,
film.
I wouldn't want, if I was Disney, I would want to like atrophy. Like you want to separate those two things as far as possible. You don't want people looking at Cap and being like, "Oh, he used to be that guy." Like nobody remembers that he was Johnny Storm. I mean, we
No,
do, but
no.
yeah,
The selling point is you bring everything
everything
back.
back. Got it.
You fully you Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, they're absolutely going to come back for Secret Wars. So you
Oh, I see.
get Garfield, Maguire, Hugh Jackman, Wolverine,
Mhm.
maybe some other Fox X-Men folks that you can actually pull in, like Famke Janssy or Halle Berry or something like that.
Sure.
Um,
Hulk? You think we get
you
original
get
Hulk?
probably. I don't think you probably get
You don't get
original
Norton
Hulk.
back?
No, because I believe they had issues. Plus,
Yes.
Ruffalo is pretty popular.
Yeah.
Maybe you get Banner, uh,
Huh.
just to
Huh.
see what happens. But yeah, I think Secret War is they're all in, and also let's shut the door on this. And I
Man.
believe while Ant-Man Quantumania was meant to be the start and continuation of this, in the same way No Way Home, Quantumania, and this, I believe now it's like No Way Home, this, and then we'll move on eventually into Secret Wars. Everyone gets to come out. We'll do the portal thing again. We'll bring characters from, Wesley Snipes will come out and say some motherfucker's always trying to ice skate uphill.
Yes.
Everyone will be happy. And then Marvel will be like, so we're done with the multiverse stuff. Like, because basically it is this. And I don't think they're maybe going to get much more out of Ryan Reynolds. Maybe they might, but it definitely feels like this is a last hurrah. So you'll get Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman in a Secret Wars, and then that's it. So they nail Fantastic Four, hopefully. We do a couple of random Avengers stuff. We'll get another Doctor Strange, Shang-Chi. Thunderbolts is coming. Blade whenever they finish that. And then we'll Secret Wars, and then we'll be like, that's done. Let's reboot the universe. We will not talk about the multiverse again. And then their next full pillar will be X-Men, of course.
So you just laid out like the next, 10, 15 years of Marvel movies right there? Like how long does that timeline go? Our job is done here. We can end this show. We should have
Secret Wars was supposed to be 2025 and 2026, but I don't feel that they haven't done the run up yet.
Yeah, there's
so
nothing.
I do feel like it's going to be at least a good 6-7 years.
And you think it all starts here with Deadpool? Like, I know there's been the shows and everything else kind of pouring into it, but do you think this is like a good jumping off point for like where people need to start taking the Marvel Cinematic Universe seriously again? Like, that's a whole other conversation. Like,
and that's why it's such a point that it is by itself this year. It is just, let's deliver this, let's hit this. We need to make sure that this works. Then we'll do Captain America next year, Thunderbolts next year, and potentially there's been rumors that they're going to try to start Spider-Man 4, shooting it this year to hit next year.
Huh.
Because Sony is a part of that, and Sony needs its cash cow. So that's always the issue there with Marvel and Spider-Man, and that Sony is technically Sony's baby, and Marvel is just the one making sure it happens correctly. But Sony needs the film. Like, it's like, no, we need something now. we need to fill up those coffers. So I would expect, Captain America, Thunderbolts, and Spider-Man, and then maybe Doctor Strange and Shang-Chi the second. Fantastic Four, of course. And then we'll probably go into Avengers stuff. Whatever the new dynasty will be. It's not the Kang dynasty anymore, or maybe it still will be. That seems to be in flux.
And for those who don't know, Kang is a reference to he who remains. Like, they haven't said Kang in the show, like in Loki or in the Marvel cinematic universe, right?
They did with he was in Ant-Man Quantumania as Kang, and he was in Loki season 2.
I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
And see, that's part of the problem. So they're like, yes, this is the narrative. Let's put everything on the table in terms of the Fox side as we're going into Secret Wars. And Secret Wars will close it out, and then that's when they'll say, this is our X-Men. And I feel like that's going to be a while, and part of the reason that they're keeping that is because they need those characters. They need a successful X-Men universe in the same way that they absolutely 100% need to nail Fantastic Four.
Gotcha. Yeah. I guess we should wrap it back around to maybe Deadpool and this new trailer, or maybe, I don't know. Is it? I don't know if we could just kind of spin off on a tangent here and talk about the overarching Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, are superhero films just kind of done? Like, can they make a comeback? I don't honestly know, because it feels like even the most ardent fans of Avengers movies and stuff and Endgame do seem to just have a bad taste in their mouth, and it doesn't seem like they could come back. So, I mean, what does that mean if like, Deadpool comes out, the next slate of Marvel movies comes out next year and they just don't do well? Like, do they change their plans entirely, or do you think the brand at this point and like, the Avengers and these other heroes are strong enough to carry like summer blockbusters still, or do we see kind of a major shift away from that kind of stuff?
Oh, this is making money. I think we've definitely gone beyond the idea that folks will just watch anything.
Huh.
And that's honestly true across the entire box office. Like, the box office is not great. It is very much feast or famine.
Gotcha.
Like, if you do not catch the cultural zeitgeist in some way, your film is not making a ton of money at the box office. And you can look at like Godzilla and Kong was able to catch some of that heat.
Mm-hmm.
But like Ghostbusters Frozen Empire didn't. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare doesn't seem to have. Monkey Man didn't seem to have. Civil War did, at least within its sort of sphere and budget range. But like it definitely feels like Deadpool and Wolverine, at the very least, has some of that cultural zeitgeist going on. Like, people want to see Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine just fucking around.
Yeah.
And there's always that feeling that they're gonna deliver.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's give credit where credit is due. These are these characters and these actors, like, the pairing of them is probably some of the best like casting we've seen for comic book adaptations of all time, right? Like, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is kind of, I know I always see a lot of people talking about how like people thought it was a terrible decision. There was like rioting in the comic book streets of like Hugh Jackman being Wolverine. And it ended up being fine. He's now synonymous with the character, right? And that could be just because he's the only character to portray him in a live action film, in the last decade or two. But
my partner came out like talking when this trailer, there's this shot where they walk out,
mm-hmm.
and my partner was like, "Oh, Hugh Jackman is too tall for Wolverine. Like, Wolverine is supposed to be short."
Yeah.
And when they have that walkout scene, he's slightly taller than Deadpool. So everyone was like, But I mean, yeah, he's the guy. He is the Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that at the very least, they give him this and then a good moment to stand next to the other MCU laureates. I absolutely believe that they will put in the same image Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark, and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, like, in the same frame. I'm sure they will have a whole bunch of other characters as well, but the thing that they are selling for Secret War is definitely at least those three characters in one frame together.
I'm gonna clip this, but because this is a pretty big bold prediction. Are you saying we'll get this in the Deadpool movie, or you just mean at some point?
At some point
in the run.
This is the selling point for Secret War.
Gotcha.
This is the throw all money at it to make it happen. Hugh Jackman, Robert Downey Jr., Tobey Maguire.
That sounds right. Wait, Tobey Maguire, really, and not. Gosh, why am I forgetting the new?
I mean, they'll have the others. Like, so they'll probably have Deadpool. They'll probably maybe get Captain, like Evans as Captain America back.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Holland. They'll have those other people. Probably Wesley Snipes, Blade. They'll have them. But the three that they need in the image to sell it is Jackman, Downey, and Maguire.
God, yeah. Interesting. Well, like bridging the everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And it would have made more sense if, like, for another, like a Fantastic Four character, if those movies ever popped off, but they never did. But like, yeah, and like I'm saying about Wolverine, like Ryan Reynolds really came into the Deadpool role, and I'm not like, when an actor is good, it makes you question if anyone else could have ever done it, right? Like you think about like Joker in the Nolan Batman universe, right? And when somebody comes along like that and just really takes on that role and believes in it and delivers, like, there's just something about like even Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, right? And the similarities between that person in real life and his portrayal of Tony Stark, who both, had issues with alcohol stuff, right? And going from there and kind of putting that performance on screen in that way, I just, that's what excites me about Deadpool and Wolverine. Like you said, it's like we're gonna get to see these two characters who tend to be fan favorites, palling around, kind of just doing their thing, and that's like, it's just such a win. Like it's hard to imagine it's been this long to get here, and that probably doesn't happen like specifically without Ryan Reynolds, right? As the owner of like a production company, as the starring leading role, right? And I'm not sure. I don't think he has director credits on any of the Deadpool movies, does he? Or is he just usually acting and then he has the director come in?
No, I think he's just executive produced. But
Yeah.
this film was directed by Sean Levy, which is one of his, The Rock. Ryan Reynolds has a number of what I like to call pocket directors, uh, general journeyman solid directors that he works with on a number of films. And for Ryan Reynolds, Sean Levy is one of those directors. So
Gotcha.
they've worked on a couple of other films. I want to say the Adam Project was also them.
Mm-hmm.
And then Free Guy might have been.
So in terms of Deadpool and Wolverine, are you excited for this? Are you expecting big things, or do you think they'll kind of lay it up in the way they're supposed to? In terms of what you're speculating here for like the next 5 to 6 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Where are you? Where's your hype level? Where are you kind of sitting?
I'm less of a general hype person. Like I'm looking forward to this film. I like Ryan Reynolds Deadpool. I like Deadpool in general, and I like Ryan Reynolds Deadpool because he really gets the character. It's not just the fourth wall breaks and the jokes. He understands that there is an emotional side. There is a found family aspect. Like Deadpool hates himself, but and he's, a psychopath, but also at the same time, there are people that he loves and people that he wishes to protect. There is goodness in him. And that is the kind of thing that I'd say, like Kelly and some of the folks after Joe Kelly really added to the character and brought to the forefront. Like, it's not just the jokes, there is also some heart in there. And this trailer definitely nails that. And Reynolds has always understood it, and I think it works really well. So, I mean, let's, like as they say before they jump into that pool, let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. Yeah, and I think, man, there's always a skeptic in me of like, there's some producer out there who's like in touch with what the kids are saying, and like let's fucking go has been like game lingo for a really long time. I mean, in general language for sports too, right? And like lining that stuff in there, but it is a really good line for these characters, like and kind of mantra to embody for them. It does line up, and this trailer really does do a lot of things. Do we want to talk about it all? Like, are you worried about spoilers at this point? Like, for our audience, I know you and I don't really care much about spoilers, but do you want to break down what we think is kind of happening in this movie at all? Do you want to go past that? Do we want to talk about? Putting the onus on you.
Yeah, let's talk about what seems to be the plot. Um, it looks like the TVA is doing some nonsense, of course, and we are. The TVA picks up Wade Wilson, our Deadpool, as you can see there, with Matthew McFadden, I believe is the actor's name, as Mr. Paradox, which is a existing Marvel character, and he is outfitted and sent to find Wolverine to ostensibly save his universe. And the Wolverine that we see here doesn't seem to be the Logan version, or doesn't seem to be necessarily the original Fox X-Men version. He seems to have failed his universe in some fashion, and Wade has to get this Wolverine on board for an adventure that looks to be taking place largely within the Void, as seen in Loki Season 1, against a character called Cassandra Nova, played by actress Emma Corrin in this trailer. Now, Cassandra Nova is a character who folks, if they read the comics at all, might know from Grant Morrison's new X-Men run. Cassandra was shown...
Yeah, she's right here. Sorry, I pulled it up. I got... So the first thing is, there she is there. But there's this shot of the Ant-Man helmet. I don't know if people notice this. But there's, an enlarged Ant-Man helmet. Gosh, come on. I'm just going to... Oh, there. She's walking out of it here. But you
and
can
it still has the skull
in it. The skull inside. Yeah, that's a really sick detail. Is that in the comics somewhere? Is that like a...
I don't think so. No, I think that's mostly new.
So that seems to be like her base. Like, here's the Ant-Man helmet. We see it kind of crack open, and there's a skull back there for sure. For sure. You can see the teeth. But yeah, she seems to be chilling in there. That's just like her... Like,
and that's as you're going back there. So stop there. Stay
gotcha.
there. Right underneath the helmet itself.
Yeah.
Over on the left is Lady Deathstrike from the X-Men films.
Yes.
And on the right is Azazel from X-Men First Class.
I feel like the dude with a striped shirt is also recognizable, but I can't put my finger quite on him.
Yeah, there are probably also other characters, but you see the teeth in there, so that is not just like a giant
it's not the suit.
Outfit.
Yeah.
It is actually the body of an Ant-Man.
Scott Lang or otherwise, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know which version.
Yeah.
And that car with the flames on the side, I believe that was supposed to be also Pyro.
Okay.
Which would make sense with the flames, Pyro and all. Very Mad Max feel within the Void.
There is certainly going to be a Mad Max sequence. I think we've seen some like dune buggies or something, and there's been a caravan shot and that sort of stuff in this trailer. We get something like desert area. It seems like there's kind of it was there, where we can see really like a Mad Max kind of like tower buggy like built. Yeah, just same kind of deal. You got the kind of the motorcycles as horses almost here. And I'm not sure what character that is, but yeah, I've seen other speculation that there's going to be multiple Wolverines in here since Deadpool's trying to find the one. We've seen like shots of the Weapon X project as Fox had portrayed it, right? Like Hugh Jackman kind of coming out of the tank. We've seen that in this trailer. And then there's been other kind of behind
in the first trailer, maybe they called it a teaser. I don't know.
Teaser, yeah.
They had a version of the Patch Wolverine, which is the white suit, and in the comics it's the white suit and the eye patch, hence the name Patch, which is sort of his James Bondy persona, and that's Pyro.
There's Pyro right there, yeah.
And there's been speculation that the Patch Wolverine in that trailer did not look to seem to have the same body type as Jackman.
Gotcha.
So that might be one of the fan casting Wolverines, like some different actor as one of the, like, oh, this person should be Wolverine. And we know Marvel listens to those because we had John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic and Multiverse of Madness. Yes, that one.
Here's your Patch Wolverine right here.
Yeah.
And I'll blow that out
And
for you
and,
guys.
and like I said, people are saying that the body type doesn't seem to reflect Jackman, so that is a
Yeah,
different actor.
that's kind of a hard call to make. I feel like from behind like this and in a jacket, But speculate. We'll never have more hype than before a thing comes out, and I fully embrace it. Like, give me your wildest theories. Let's hear your crazy stuff because some of it could end up becoming true or some version of it, right?
Yeah, so my guess is we'll probably meet like one or two Wolverine variants before we land on the Wolverine that will be taking us through the rest of the film. And this is one of those, and that'll allow, Reynolds and Marvel to make some Wolverine jokes, like, oh, here's this person as Wolverine. Whoever that's going to be, like some people have been like, oh, well, Daniel Radcliffe would be a good Wolverine or something like that. I don't freaking know, but they'll put one of those people in there. Definitely. Before we land on the scene that we see in this trailer with the bar and everything, and this disgraced Ronin Wolverine who's going to be the one that we have for the rest of the film. Speaking of multiple multiverse versions, we also briefly see in the trailer Dogpool.
Oh yeah, that's
which is the dog that the
Deadpool.
dog that is also Deadpool. And Dogpool is from a comic called the Deadpool Core. And we have the image of that. So those characters, that's Dogpool, Headpool, Lady Deadpool, Kidpool, and Deadpool himself. And it is basically a multiverse squad of murdering Deadpools. And we've seen Dogpool. It is entirely possible that the rest will be in the film as well, in some fashion. And I believe we may have seen merchandise alluding to that, like leaked merchandise alluding to that fact as well. But Dogpool, at the very least, tells us we're getting at least one other multiverse Deadpool. So that'll be fun.
So you think whatever? So let's kind of, maybe for people who aren't super into the comics and don't know some of these characters, some of these players, right? We've got the big bad, which is, you've talked about briefly.
So Cassandra Nova is the easiest way to say it is she is Charles Xavier's twin sister. The reality of it is very Grant Morrison. It is quite different, and is the idea of this being a class of beings called, I believe it's like Mamundrai or something like that.
Yes.
Which are akin to doppelgangers. And so her backstory is that a Mamundrai copied Charles Xavier, presenting itself as a twin sister, and Charles Xavier in the womb was like, oh, this is not going to fly. So he tried to kill her. At the very least, he thought he had killed her. And if you go back to that shot, stop there.
Yeah.
He tried to kill her, thought he had killed her, but she appeared much later in New X-Men 113, which was part of the beginning of Grant Morrison's, 114, his run on X-Men.
And yeah, for those who don't know, Grant Morrison also widely known for creating comic books under the extreme influence of different types of.
And as a tie, this arc that this issue is part of was also reflected. This was the destruction of Genosha by Cassandra Nova, using a 3-headed master mold, which everyone saw recently in X-Men 97.
Yeah.
Without Cassandra Nova.
Right.
So this is sort of a tie-in to other recent stuff. But yes, Cassandra is I was talking earlier about T-Ray as a guy that is created purely to hate you. Like the only motivating force is hating you. Maximize that shot that we were just at with Cassandra
Sorry,
walking down the stairs.
I'm gonna get her. I gotta get a better one here, where she's straight up is just owning Wolverine here, almost like a Magneto style. Here she is, right there.
Yeah, and she ends up coming back to purely hate on Charles Xavier. She just hates Charles Xavier. For killing her in the womb, and all she cares about is killing mutants. Not because she cares about killing mutants, but because she hates Charles, and his dream is mutant coexistence.
Right. And so it all kind of ties together, right? We can assume that somehow Cassandra Nova ends up in the void here. The TVA has a problem. They're sending, it seems like Deadpool and Wolverine are also ending up in the void, whether that's related to the TVA or not. We don't know, but these two major things are connected, right? The existence of Cassandra Nova in this universe, which is also wild that we left out the part that I think Charles Xavier fights her in the womb, right? Like, or is that canon? I've seen comic book panels of this, of like is that, I don't know if you need a second to
is what canon?
They fight in the womb, right? Like it's like a battle.
Yes,
of minds.
no, like literally, like the shots from the comic are two bald ass babies, and one strangles the other with the umbilical cord.
Oh, really? Jeez.
Yes, like that is the panel in specific. Man, I'd have to find that.
I thought it was like a blast of psychic energy at the very least. And
no.
It's Grant Morrison, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
But also there's a shot in here. Again, she hates Charles Xavier's. That shot back where she's walking down the stairs. It looks like there might be a Xavier wheelchair behind her.
Really? Okay, let's find it. Go ahead and vamp. I'll find it.
The speculation from some is that she's holding court and killing any Xavier that ends up in the void. Which, so like right behind her. Yeah, right there.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Let me see.
You can hit...
I can frame forward a little.
Yeah, if you frame back. So a lot of people are thinking that's an Xavier chair.
It's going to be hard to see, I think, on this YouTube video, but I'll try and point it out with the mask. Like, just behind her jacket, and if you full screen this trailer yourself, you can definitely see what looks to be... I would almost say it looks like the Xavier wheelchair from the
movies.
X-Men movie, yeah.
Not the full yellow one from the comics, but the X-Men 1 era Xavier chair. And so a lot of people are assuming that perhaps she just kills any Xavier that comes across the void, which would be a very Cassandra Nova thing to do. How this ties into the rest of the stuff, obviously dealing with the TVA, the void, and incursions. Who knows? Will Reynolds' Earth survive? Who knows? But,
I think only other plot point is we do see the TVA here still doesn't seem to be on the up and up. There does seem to be some kind of confrontation here where our heroes do end up tangling with.
And this scene, a lot of people speculate and believe that this is the beginning of Age of Ultron.
Huh. Oh, that's a good pull there. This is the second Avengers movie where everyone's running through the
snow. That one shot through the snowy forest. And so there's some speculation that at some point Wade and Wolverine go rogue, and the TVA comes to stop them. So perhaps the shot with Wade and Wolverine jumping into the sling ring portal
at the very end
leads to this.
Gotcha. Huh. Man, that's kind of exciting. I've seen also other people say that there's a shot in here where Deadpool throws 3 knives, but also in the shot, it looks like he's holding them too. Like in this one where he's fighting, it looks like he's holding them. But somebody said like, oh, those actually look like Wolverine's claws, which would be a nice little detail. That would be fun.
Yeah. So I think maybe Cassandra Nova will be a big bad, but the final conflict and big bad will be the TVA in some fashion.
Interesting.
So I think we'll go from fun, like we'll see Deadpool's life, then the TVA conscripts him, then we get Wolverine fun times leading to Wolverine and Deadpool in the Void, and then they jump from there. Perhaps I want to say and have a fun tour of MCU scenes.
Of the MCU stuff. Gosh, that could be really good.
Because if you jump back,
Sure.
just frame back.
Oh, sorry. I got you. And this is Goliath back here, right?
Yes,
like
the big cloud is alive from Loki season 1.
Okay.
So stop there.
Yeah.
That's Cassandra Nova standing next to the portal.
Wait, here on the left side?
Look, so in between Wolverine and the portal, standing right.
Interesting.
Is Cassandra Nova, and she is
moving.
not stopping them or moving. So I think there will be a larger, there will be a fight between them in the Void and then them and Cassandra Nova in the Void, but she is not the final problem.
That's an incredible spot. Yeah, good eye there. Man, it's a good time.
And so I think they, with the Goliath coming, if you move forward.
Yep, gotcha.
They are fighting her, and then they are like, "Oh, Goliath is coming
Time to
eat all of us. We're all going to die, but we need you to fuck up the TVA for what they've done to all of us who are here."
Gotcha.
And so I think we go from this scene to the Age of Ultron scene, and maybe a tour of other. Deadpool and Wolverine running through the background of Civil War or Endgame or whatever, just running through the background of different movies before we end up at the final fight against whoever.
Any bold predictions there?
I mean, it could be anything. It could be, another Wolverine. It could be another Deadpool. Yeah.
Sure.
It could, if they wanted to, the version of Wolverine with their stunt casting would be Doug Ray Scott, who a lot of people vaguely remember as the villain for Mission Impossible 2. Mm-hmm. He was actually contracted and all ready to go as Wolverine. And then there was a conflict with Mission Impossible 2, literally. So he couldn't. And that's when Jackman got the role. So, perhaps if they're going to stunt cast something, you get Doug Ray Scott as another Wolverine. And you have a little fun with that. I hate you because you took my life or something like that.
Sure.
That's a real, way out there version, I think. But it could be fun. But I do think at this point we will have a little jump through old MCU stuff, maybe some of the old Fox films and stuff. And Deadpool and Wolverine will probably collect more members of the Deadpool Corps. And I think that will be the shot at the end where they are walking out with the Liefeld joke down the...
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's towards the end. Yeah, I think it's a little further back. But it's a joke about drawing feet, right?
Yes.
So you want to explain that one for people?
Rob Liefeld does many things.
Comic book creator.
Whether you like or hate him, he is one of the creators of Deadpool and he draws very dynamic. Yeah, Liefeld's just feet.
Yeah, there it is.
He draws very dynamic bodies, but he has problems with feet, so a lot of his compositions have the characters standing in such a way that their feet are off panel or behind, and he
or
just
cheated
doesn't.
a little. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing this scene here is probably going to be similar to the scene at the end of one of the No Way Home trailers, where it was Tom Holland Spider-Man leaping out at the villains.
Yeah.
And it was just him, and they had digitally removed the other two Spider-Men to hide them from the... I'm thinking this is going to be similar to that scene.
Interesting.
Because if you look, the scene with the dog also takes place in this area.
Yeah, so, and it's very, I guess the location isn't as important. Looks like there's a Christmas wreath back there, though. That's kind of interesting. But it is looks like a garden shop. And then it does look New Yorkish, I guess, maybe.
I mean, I don't know where this is, but yeah, I think this is the final battle shot.
Gotcha.
And I believe that they have just digitally removed all of the other people that are going to join Deadpool and Wolverine in this fight.
I appreciate that Wolverine lost his sleeves at some point. He had the yellow jumpsuit going on, and now classic sleeveless.
So we're getting from set photos. He's got the mask with the sleeves. Are we going to get sleeveless with the mask, though, is the question on everyone's minds. So
I don't know. I wouldn't get your hopes up. But.
And also, you gotta let Hugh Jackman free, because, I mean, he is so jacked, but he is also so old. Let this man free him from having to lift weights and do whatever testosterone therapy shit that requires him to stay in that shape, because I know it's hard. So
I mean, if it wasn't for this role, it'd probably be for another one, to be honest. And I mean, if you think about I was gonna say just let him go from the character, let someone else take up the mantle. But I mean, they couldn't even do it with Toby, so I don't.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to. There will be a new Wolverine, and that's another one of those things like the Fantastic Four. Their one thing that they have to land is whoever the new Wolverine is.
Yeah.
You
don't think they go the X-23 route with that, with the comic book style?
No. I do think we will get an X-23, but and similar to Fantastic Four nailing the pillars of what they got, I think at some point when they do X-Men, we will get Wolverine, Cyclops, Jean Grey, Storm. In some fashion, even if they are not the main leaders of the team, because Wolverine is just one of those characters that you keep going. And so in the absence of your Captain America, your Iron Man, maybe your Thor will be done by that point. In the absence of those, you need to nail other pillars. Fantastic Four is one of those. X-Men is going to be another one. And at some point, yes, you move forward. At some point, Tom Holland will be gone and Spider-Man will be Miles Morales. But I think within the MCU, they will have a new Wolverine of some sort.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that pretty much covers it. If you're watching this, you're now well prepared for pretty much anything that could happen in the Deadpool movie. I think we've really laid the groundwork here. I mean, there's still obviously things that we don't know and things we're speculating here, which are super fun. And for some people, that's not a fun experience to have. But I think for when you've been around a while and you've been reading comics and you've been paying attention to games and movies and stuff, it's what are they going to do with this? Where are we going to go? Where are we going to end up by the time, from the time the movie starts to the time the movie ends? And part of the reason that we do this podcast, I think, is because we're very much interested in exploring all those different ideas and understanding the execution of those ideas and stuff, and then obviously weighing our own opinions and judgment about like how did they do. So all that to say, is there anything else you want to cover just surrounding Deadpool as a character? I feel like he's gone into the mainstream enough that we know who he is. I think most people know kind of who he is. If they haven't, there's 2 whole movies on Disney. Are they even on Disney Plus at this point? There's 2 Deadpool movies you can go and watch.
I'm sure that they have to be,
but they're somewhere on streaming for sure.
Because they were Fox films, and most of those are on. I mean, who knows with streaming these days? A lot of them license out the stuff.
Yeah.
Like the Warner Brothers catalog is spread out amongst a bunch of different stuff, but I'm pretty sure Deadpool 1 and 2 are on Disney Plus.
I'll look it up, but is there anything else that we want to cover about Deadpool before we close up shop today? Before we close the file?
Not that I know of. No, I think we've covered a lot of fun stuff, and I mean, there's probably more stuff that is related to speculation or set leaks and stuff like that. We're not going to go there.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. And I mean, there's Deadpool lore, obviously, stuff about chimichangas and like his relationship with Death, the character Death.
Yeah, Deadpool 1 and 2 are on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it looks like they are. Yeah, looking at it now. Cool. All right. Well, I think that's probably a good place to stop for today, man. Any last shout outs? Any suggestions or for people going into this movie?
Pick up that new Grant Morrison new X-Men run starting at 113, 114, somewhere in there. I think it's 114 is where it starts. It's a great run. It was the last before the Hickman X-Men dropped. It was one of the other big, like, this is the new shit, the new status quo, in a very big way for the X-Men. So it's a great read, and it'll give you some insight into Cassandra Nova. And then if you're a Deadpool fan, I always say start with the Joe Kelly and McGinnis run, Deadpool Volume 1, Number 1, like the actual series, not the miniseries. Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza, again, apologies if I pronounced your name wrong, sir. You're a fantastic creator and journeyman writer for Marvel Comics. But they may have created Deadpool, but I honestly think there should be some sort of second creator credit. And Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness definitely deserve that for Deadpool and establishing some of the more the humanity behind the character, I think. So I read that run as well if you're wondering more about Deadpool.
Right on. I think that's pretty good. Good advice to always like follow creators, right? And then look for the kind of bumps where like sometimes somebody will start a run on a character and then someone else comes and has a different take that just like hits people in a different way, that it expands the audience for that original episode. That's a good call out there. Cool. All right, that's going to be it for today. I am at Darth Burrito on Twitter. Mike is at Automatic Zen over there. MH Williams on Blue Sky. I'm also Darth Burrito on Blue Sky. You can check out our random musings over there and those places on social. You can always leave comments here. You know, if we get questions or comments, maybe eventually we'll read them here on the show, I think, if we get any good ones. So up your game if you're commenting out there. Everyone who's watching, thank you so much for the support, and we'll catch you next week.